You're watching someone walk away from you, and something shifts inside your chest. Not pain, not quite. It's something more like recognition, like a door closing so quietly, you almost miss it. And in that silence, you feel the weight of every compromise you made, every time you chased, every text you sent at 2 a.m. that you shouldn't have, every version of yourself you shrunk down to fit into someone else's world. You told yourself it was love, it was loyalty, it was persistence. It wasn't. It was fear dressed up in noble clothing. The moment they stop chasing you is not a rejection, it is a revelation. Because here is the paradox that changes everything. And I need you to hear this clearly, right now, before we go any further. The people, the opportunities, and the life you've been desperately chasing will only arrive the moment you stop running toward them. Not because the universe is playing games with you, but because desperation has a frequency, and that frequency repels everything worth having. You've been taught that hard work means constant pursuit, that wanting something badly enough means chasing it relentlessly. People, validation, status, belonging. You've confused motion with progress. You've mistaken anxiety for ambition, and it's costing you everything. The life you want is not built by chasing, it's built by becoming. The moment you stop seeking approval from people, from circumstances, from the mirror, is the moment everything that was always meant for you begins to arrive. Today, we are going to go deep. We're going to talk about the psychology of why you chase, the neuroscience of what happens when you stop, the philosophy of the life you are leaving unlived, and most importantly, the exact system, the daily disciplines, the identity, level shifts that transform you from someone who begs the world for a seat at the table into someone the world pulls up a chair for. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you chase someone or something that keeps pulling away. Neuroscience calls it the dopamine reward loop. When you pursue something uncertain, a person who's inconsistent, an outcome you can't control, your brain floods with dopamine not when you get the reward, but while you're in pursuit of it. This is the same mechanism behind slot machines, behind social media, behind every addiction ever studied. Uncertainty is the fuel, and you've been living inside that fire without knowing it. Neuroplasticity tells us the brain rewires itself based on repeated behavior. Every time you chase, you reinforce a neural pathway that encodes the identity. I am someone who needs external validation to feel worthy. Repeat it enough, and that identity becomes your default operating system. But here's the power. The same mechanism that locked you in can set you free. New repeated behaviors carve new pathways. You can literally rebuild who you are, one disciplined decision at a time. Carol Dweck's landmark research on the growth mindset reveals something crucial here. People with a fixed mindset tie their worth to outcomes. Whether they were chosen, approved of, rewarded. People with a growth mindset tie their worth to the process, the commitment, the discipline, the becoming. Fixed mindset people chase. Growth mindset people build. One is reactive, the other is sovereign. James Clear's research on identity-based habits extends Dweck's insight into daily action. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are expressions of your identity. The shift is not, I want to be confident. It's, I am someone who acts confidently. Every action you take is a vote for who you are becoming. The goal is not to win every vote, it's to win the majority. And then there's the ancient Stoic tradition, and specifically the concept of the dichotomy of control. The Stoics understood something that modern psychology has only recently caught up to. You have total agency over your inner world and zero control over outcomes. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journals, not for public acclaim, but for himself, that the only empire worth ruling was the empire of the self. Walter Mischel's marshmallow experiments and the decades of follow-up research confirmed what the Stoics intuited 2,000 years ago. The ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success across relationships, finances, health, and happiness. But delayed gratification is not deprivation, it's investment. Every time you choose depth over immediate approval, You are compounding interest on the person you are becoming. The person who no longer needs your approval will always have more power than the person who craves it. This is not arrogance. This is not coldness. This is self-possession. And it is the foundation of everything that comes next, not the fear of failure. You've thought about that. You've wrestled with it. You know what failure feels like. The sting, the embarrassment, the way it hollows you out temporarily. You've survived failure. What you haven't fully confronted is something far more devastating. The regret of the unlived life. Viktor Frankl survived Nazi concentration camps. He lost his wife, his parents, his manuscript. Everything external was stripped away. And what he discovered, from the darkest laboratory of human suffering ever recorded, was this: meaning is not found, it is chosen. Frankl wrote that between stimulus and response there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom. Most people never find that space. They react to life instead of directing it. They chase instead of create. They wait for permission instead of declaring their purpose. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus was born a slave. He had no freedom of body. And yet he was, in every meaningful sense, the freest man in Rome, because he had mastered the only domain that mattered, the sovereignty of his own mind. He wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Most people do the opposite. They obsess over what they cannot control. Whether someone texts back, whether they get the promotion, whether they are liked, and abandon what they can, their focus, their discipline, their daily commitment to becoming. Every day you spend chasing external validation is a day you spend not building internal authority. And internal authority, the deep knowing of who you are, what you stand for, what you will and will not accept, is the only currency that compounds without limit. Approval depreciates, self-mastery appreciates. Jocko Willink, the retired Navy SEAL commander, puts it in terms that cut through all philosophical abstractions. Discipline equals freedom. Not freedom from effort. Freedom through it. The undisciplined person is not free. They are enslaved to every impulse, every craving for validation, every wave of fear that moves through them. The disciplined person has built a fortress of self that no rejection, no silence, no withdrawal can breach. Think about the last version of yourself that chased someone who didn't value you, or spent months seeking approval from a person who would never be satisfied, or shrunk your ambitions to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. That version of you was not safe. That version of you was slowly disappearing. The real failure is not losing. The real failure is never truly playing, because you were too busy managing how you appeared to others to ever fully show up as yourself. The unlived life does not announce itself. It simply fades, until one day you look up and realize the person you were supposed to become never got the chance to exist. That day does not have to come, but you have to decide right now, today, that it won't. All of this means nothing without a system. Inspiration is a spark. Systems are the oxygen. Without structure, even the most profound revelation evaporates by Tuesday morning. So here is exactly how you build the identity and the life of someone who no longer chases. Someone who becomes so deeply rooted in themselves that the world reorganizes around their gravity. 6 disciplines, non-negotiable. Choose them as identity, not obligation. The first 60 minutes of your day are the foundation of your identity. No phone, no notifications, no other people's agendas. Begin with 5 minutes of silence, not meditation if that feels forced, but stillness. Ask, who am I today? What do I stand for? Then move your body. Even 10 minutes. Physical action tells your nervous system, I am in charge here. Follow it with deliberate review of your one non-negotiable commitment for the day. 1, not 12. 1. This is mental priming. You are conditioning your brain before the world tries to condition it for you. Stop setting goals and start designing processes. A goal is an outcome you hope for. A process is a system you execute regardless of results. Use 90-day execution cycles, not year-long resolutions. Identify 3 process pillars, the 3 daily or weekly behaviors that, if performed consistently, make the outcome inevitable. Then track the behaviors, not the results. This retrains your dopamine system from external reward to internal execution. You become process sovereign, no longer dependent on outcomes to feel progress. Every setback, rejection, or failure contains data. Treat it as such. Build a weekly 15-minute failure audit, not to punish yourself, but to extract intelligence. Ask 3 questions. What happened? What did it teach me? What does my next version do differently? This reframes failure from identity threat to information source. The people who never grow are not the ones who fail. They are the ones who fail and treat it as proof they are broken, rather than proof they are learning. You are not managing time. You are managing energy. Identify your peak cognitive window. For most people, the first 2-4 hours after waking. Guard that window with everything you have. No meetings, no emails, no low leverage tasks. This is your deep work block, dedicated to the one thing that, if done with full focus, compounds most powerfully over time. Outside this window, batch all reactive tasks. Your attention is the most valuable resource you will ever own. Spend it like it is. When you feel the pull to chase, a person, approval, a reaction, pause, breathe. 4 counts in, hold 4 out 4. This is not mystical. This is physiology. The extended exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system and interrupts the anxiety-driven impulse. Then ask, is this action coming from my values or from my fear? Fear-driven action always costs more than it gains. Values-driven action always builds more than it takes. You are not suppressing emotion. You are choosing which emotions get to make decisions. Your self-concept is not what you think about yourself on a good day. It is the floor, the lowest point to which you allow yourself to fall. Build it through kept promises to yourself. Start small. Tell yourself you will do 10 push-ups. Do 10 push-ups. Tell yourself you will not respond to that text tonight. Do not respond. Each kept promise is a brick. Each broken one chips the foundation. Integrity with yourself is not a virtue. It is the architecture of an identity that cannot be shaken by other people's choices. These are not personality traits you either have or don't have. These are chosen disciplines, and every discipline is available to you, starting with the next decision you make. The person you are becoming is not discovered. They are constructed, one deliberate action, one kept promise, one refused compromise at a time. The world does not give you an identity. You declare it. Then you defend it. Every single day, we've traveled far together in this video, and I want to land this in a place that is real, not just inspiring, but actionable, because inspiration without a commitment structure is just emotional entertainment. So here is what I want you to do, right now. Not tomorrow, not after this video ends. Right now, just one, beginning with the words, I am someone who, and complete it with the identity of the person you are choosing to become, not the person you've been, not the person you're afraid you are, but the person your highest self already is. Write it. Say it out loud. Put it somewhere you'll see it every morning. This is not affirmation theater. This is a declaration of war against the version of yourself that shrinks. Choose one behavior from today's 6 disciplines, just one, and commit to it for 30 days without exception. Not 30 days of perfection, 30 days of relentless return. If you miss a day, return the next morning without self-punishment and without negotiation. The standard is not perfection. The standard is that you always come back, because the people who transform are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who refuse to stay down. Tell one person you trust, what you are committing to, not for their approval, for the architecture of accountability. Research consistently shows that verbal commitment to a witness dramatically increases follow-through. You are not asking for permission. You are creating a witness to your transformation. That witness can be a friend, a journal, or this community, but it must exist outside your own mind. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be relentless. Here is the truth about the moment they stop chasing you. It does not mean you lost. It means you finally stopped playing a game designed to keep you small. It means the version of you that needed someone else's pursuit to feel worthy has finally been outgrown. It means you have stepped into the silence and discovered that silence is not emptiness. It is space. Space for everything that was always meant to be yours. The right people will not chase you because you are running. They will find you because you are standing firmly in who you are, rooted, sovereign, alive. Opportunities will not come because you chase them breathlessly. They will arrive because you have built something worth arriving for, a version of yourself so genuinely and unapologetically complete that the universe has no choice but to reorganize itself around you. This is not the end of a chapter. This is the first sentence of the only story that has ever mattered, yours. The decision point is right here, right now, not in a week when things settle down, not after you've figured everything out. This moment, this exact breath, is when you choose. Choose to stop chasing. Choose to start becoming. And if this video moved something in you, if it reached a part of you that had been waiting to be spoken to, share it with one person who needs it. Not for the algorithm, for them. Because sometimes one video, at the right moment, is the thing that changes the entire direction of a life. You know who that person is? Send it. And subscribe, not because of a number on a screen, but because you've decided to surround yourself with the kind of thinking that builds the kind of person you are choosing to be. This channel exists for that person. It exists for you. Now go. The work is waiting.